Good morning, my beautiful community. I'm not sure what time of day you're watching this. It might not be morning for you, but I just wanted to follow up. So my last video, I talked about about resigning. So I resigned my teaching position and I felt so nervous and scared. As soon as I hit submit, and then it from the district, and then it went to my principal, I felt so scared. I was like, oh my gosh, so anyway, yesterday when I went back in, the first thing in the morning after announcements, my principal called me in and she wanted to know my reasons, and she told me that my license most likely will be suspended for a year. And since I'm resigning in the middle of the year, in November, she said that it could end up being me waiting 2 years. So, I'm just following God's plan. I know that, if there isn't peace in your heart and you are stressed out and feeling sick and don't have time for your family, you don't have time for anything, right? Like even paying your bills, calling companies, if it's your mortgage company, or paying your car note, whatever it is, just not being able to see past your nose. And I don't want to live like that anymore. And it's kind of a big step for me. There's a lot of people that they're already set up on Teachers Pay Teachers. They have that money coming in, all of that money coming in. I don't have anything on Teachers Pay Teachers. I mean, maybe eventually, but as of right now, I just don't have anything on Teachers Pay Teachers. And the whole social media, internet community, my channel's not super huge, so I don't have that income. I don't have, YouTube income or any of that. But I just feel like there is a higher calling for me, that God's got a bigger plan for me. And I just need to step into it. To be honest with you, my last job, the numbers went down, and so they ended up letting go of a few teachers. This was at a private school, by the way. They let go of a few teachers, and I was one of them. And I just remember the end of the year, they had told us in March, and my excuse was, what are they going to do? Fire me? If something didn't go right or whatever. And I told myself I am not going back into teaching. I told myself that. I started doing private lessons over the summer. I had a space. I had a few students. But of course, over the summer, a lot of students go on to summer camps. You lose a lot of your clients, in the summertime. And so I started panicking, and I went on Indeed. I'd wake up in the middle of the night, like 3 a.m. This is over the summer, panicking, like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do if I don't have enough income? So that's why I ended up at this job, because I went on Indeed, and I was actually trying to apply for an assistant position because I knew I was a private school teacher coming into public school for the very first time. And private school and public school are so different. Private school does not have as much legal tape as public school. Public school, there's so many documents that need to be turned in. You've got all this federal stuff for federal funds, for whatever, and everything needs to be turned in. Everything. Any documents you get for special ed, whatever it is, needs to be turned in. I mean, it's pretty hardcore. And I feel like being a first-time teacher in a public school, and then having to go to all the UIL stuff and competitions, it was too much. It's just too much. Being stressed out, like, it just kept coming. Every time I would finish something, there was another thing that I had to tend to, and really having to tend to it while I was already attending to, one trip, and just not getting support from the parents that I needed, and just it takes a lot of all hands on deck kind of thing, and I'm just not getting that kind of support, and I can't do it by myself. And I wish I were a master delegator. I know some people who are great at delegating stuff. They're a master at it. I probably need to go to that master class. But I just couldn't, I don't know. I'm not cut out for this kind of work. I'm kind of a free spirit. And even disciplining these kids and them not wanting to learn, I just feel like it's a house of cards and it's just going to topple over at any moment. So anyway, I resigned. I talked to the principal. She wanted to know my reason. Sorry, I'm trying to keep my eyes on the road as I drive to work. She wanted to know my reason, and I told her it was affecting my health, my family. The workload was unmanageable. And I thanked her for everything. And then it was really short, concise. And then I had to get back to class because my class, the bell had already rang and they were waiting at my door. So I had to get back to class. And, throughout the day, I felt pressure, but I didn't feel the same kind of pressure. I felt like some of the weight has been lifted off. She did say HR has to do the final sign off on my resignation. But, so I'm waiting. I'm just waiting, guys. And I just, I feel like Christmas time is coming up. I don't even have the Christmas music ordered. And there's, the stuff for the guys. And they've been so bad that I'm thinking since I'm resigning, maybe I just won't take them to this field trip that we're supposed to go on. I was supposed to have ordered buses already. I was really busy with the other competition that I didn't even schedule the bus for this one, and we're supposed to do it in 2 weeks prior to the trip. Well, the trip is next week and there's no bus scheduled. And anyway, it's just been a lot. I'm thinking about what I'm going to do after all of this. I've got things I can do, but I just really wanted to let you know that it's just been really hard. The stress has been it's not worth it. It's not worth it. And I'm just depending on God. And I really want to do more in God's ministry, do His work. I've watched some videos on the afterlife and people that have, had an accident and then they go up to heaven and are shown heaven. They're also shown hell, and they're shown heaven, and Jesus asked them, what have you done? With the gifts I've given you, what have you done for my kingdom? And that just really resonated with me, and I thought, what am I doing? My prayer life has really not been all that great, except for God help me, Holy Spirit be with me, help me, and I'm normally a prayer warrior. I do praise and worship music, and I perform jazz. I do all sorts of stuff. But I just feel like I'm not really living up to my potential as far as serving the kingdom of God. And I want to do more with that. And like I said, I ended up with this job out of fear, out of panic. And I just think that was not the right call. I think God had something for me. But I was too paranoid and freaked out about, oh my gosh, we're in a recession. What am I going to do with money? And I just looked at the dollar signs and I thought, in the district that I work for, it pays pretty decent. It's not like the greatest in the whole world, as far as money's concerned, but it's probably the most money I've made. Private school doesn't always pay that well. But this, I just looked at the dollar signs and I'm like, okay, benefits, dollar signs, I'm going to do this. But I kind of knew going in that this is going to be a hard road to hoe. And I just knew that this was just going to be difficult, very challenging, very difficult. The visual that I got was walking into a building and there's like a line of people with baseball bats ready to smack me in the face and beat me down. And that was the imagery that I got. And it's right. That imagery was so right, but it's like the beating just keeps coming. Beating after beating after beating. And I've just come to the realization that, I've got to quit. I've got to quit, or my health is going to just deteriorate. You have benefits or whatever, medical, whatever, but if you're like really sick, yeah, you can use those benefits, but the thing is, why do you have to get that sick? And I had a series of dreams. A lot of times I'll get warnings through dreams or advice through dreams. I had a dream of my father, who he's been passed away for a couple of years. And we were standing in the kitchen and he told me, he kind of motioned to me to listen to his heart. So I put my ear on his chest and I heard a couple of heartbeats and then it stopped. And then I was worried about him, like, is he gonna die? What? I'm really worried. And then the next thing I know, he's laying down, but he's not laying, he's in his room, but he's not laying on his bed. I could see down the hallway, he's laying on the floor with a blanket covering him up, but his head was out. And I was just so worried about him, like, is he gonna make it? Is he gonna die? And that dream really perplexed me. I'm just kind of worked up right now, sorry. The dream perplexed me. I didn't know what the dream was about, and so I was trying to interpret it. I was looking through scripture. I was looking to analyze it. What does this mean? And the heart represents yourself. The heart represents your entire being. And the dream was not about my dad being sick. He had already passed away. The dream was about him telling me, like fatherly advice, telling me, look, yourself is in turmoil. Yourself is sick. Yourself is not doing well. And you've got to do something about it. Now, the part about him laying on the floor, not laying on a bed, just lying down represents you not taking the steps to resolve issues. And I wasn't taking steps. I was just putting up with it. I was just putting up with the abuse, and the suffering, all for the sake of money, all for the sake of paying a house note, car note, groceries for kids, all of that stuff. I was putting up with that abuse and I wasn't doing anything about it. And that was what laying down means. And then after that dream, I had a dream about my bed, like trying to get comfortable. I saw my bed. It wasn't even in my room. It was some foreign place. And I looked again and then everything was moved and my bed was next to some other bed. And I was like, but I don't want my bed like that. And then two beds, if you see a dream of two beds, that's conflict. So these dreams were of turmoil, conflict, not doing anything about a dire situation, and especially my dad showing up, the head of the house showing up, making me listen to his heart, putting my ear on his chest to listen to his heart, and his heart stopping. These are warning dreams, warning signs. And so after I had that dream, I waited a couple of days just trying to discern it, asking God for help to discern this dream. And then I made my decision to resign. So I'm at this point right now, and there's field trips, there's all sorts of stuff that I'm supposed to be preparing for. But like I said, I don't have buses ordered. I don't have what I need for this. Don't have permission forms sent out. I don't have any of this because I was wrapped up with the other competition. So to make a long story short, I'm still facing that right now. going into work, like, should I try to just do a rush order? Should I try to just cram this in? Just to ensure that we follow protocol, even though I am resigning. And then there's the other part of me, it's like, just let it go. Just don't go. Just don't do it. What are they going to do? Are they going to fire you? I mean, you know what I mean? So I'm just at a point now, it's like, I just got to make that decision today. Today is Friday. And also Christmas music. I, was trying to order that. Didn't even get that ordered. And I'm used to doing sacred music. So all the music that I have is sacred, or it's the wrong voicing. So anyway, that's where I am right now in this journey. My resignation date is November 16th, which is in about 2 weeks. And then there was this part of me that's like, why didn't I wait until after Thanksgiving break? I could have got paid for having that week off. Why didn't I wait till Christmas break? I've got, 2 weeks of paid, being paid on salary. But the fact of the matter is, there's a Christmas concert coming up. The Christmas music still isn't ordered. And I'm still dealing with other stuff. And I'm so paranoid and just freaked out and paralyzed that I'm struggling to get certain things taken care of, certain things done. The fear makes you not settle down to get things done. And so it's not only that, it's having to get things set up, having to get chaperones to come watch all the different groups, rehearsing them on the risers, trying to put a work order in. I don't even know how to do all that. These kids are just, they're not compliant. I came from a school, the kids are really good, very compliant, and I just don't want that stress. So I decided, I'm just going to give them 2 weeks notice, which I think is standard for, when you're quitting a job, you need to give them 2 weeks notice. So I gave them 2 weeks notice. And I'm just going to rely on God, surrender all to God, and just have God open the next doors for me. Like I said, I just want to work for His kingdom, His ministry, and that's where I'm at in my life. I feel like I've been in exile and in the wilderness, and I just need God to provide, God to come through. So I'm just going to rely on Him. I should have relied on Him over the summer, but I clearly did not. I jumped into this situation out of fear, and out of fear, more fear was born, and anxiety. So I'm just going to trust in God, trust in the Lord, and I'll just keep you posted on what He does. So thank you for listening to this talk. I'm sorry if it was rambly or the video was shaky, but I just want to tell you thank you for watching. And wherever you are in your life, if you're contemplating quitting your teaching job, just know that everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. Just trust in God. Trust in His power. He put this whole world into motion. There's nothing He can't do. So thank you guys. Thanks for everything. And I will see you on the next one. God bless.